Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Make sure my microphone's on. Yep, it is. Okay. How are you guys doing? And we'll say hello to, as the notifications come out. Here we go. And Brahim. How you doing there, my friend? And Andrea, number 2. Where's Michael? And Sandy, good morning. And 2 Sandys in a row. One from Minnesota, Donna. And Rosalinda, good morning. And Carrie from Nebraska, good morning to you. Mary, Norwich. And Wendy from Markham, good morning. Jeanette from our staff. Kevin, Oshawa, good morning, Kev. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's like I know where you guys are from. Cheryl, West Virginia. Doc McEwen, how are you? West Tennessee. Gloria from New York. Lori from Niagara Falls. Deb from Motown. Detroit, Michigan. Diane, LaSalle. Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. And Sylvie, how are you? Bonjour. Olga, New Brunswick. Tina, Nova Scotia. Mary, PEI, we're going east. Kim, Florida, how are you? Fran, Orangeville. And Jeanette, good morning. And it's snowing in Hearst, Ontario this morning. Donna, Karen, Suzanne, and Judy, New Brunswick. Marcin, Nouveau Brunswick. Maria, good morning. Marcia, hola from Mexico. How are you? Dave, Muskoka. Yolande, bonjour. And Jeanette is saying hello to everyone. Mariette, De Verner, bonjour. Donna, and Veronica. And April, and Denise, Sturgeon Falls, John from Lefroy, Cecilia, good morning, and a couple of more. Kathy, good morning. Marina, how are you? And Sandy saying hi to Gloria, not me. Clinton, Bighorn Mountains. Liz, Costa Rica. Rachel, man from everywhere. Karen, way out east, Newfoundland. And Marine, Penticton, BC. East Coast, West Coast, United States, all over. Elaine, Linda. Len and Judy, Edmonton, Alberta. Okay, let's get going, guys. And sorry I didn't get everybody, but, you know, we do love you guys. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Let's talk this morning about breakfast for children. Here's my headline. Breakfast for children, the most dangerous meal for them. Okay? The most dangerous meal. Man, I feel sorry for kids today. And the nonsense that's out there. And I mean, they literally are walking through a minefield when it comes to choices for their breakfast. Okay? And the marketing agencies, you got to give them high fives because they're very good at it. You know, I was telling you yesterday about Big Tobacco. They lied under oath. They just lied through their teeth about addiction. But the food industry really isn't any better because they lie through their teeth. And they hook our kids and our grandchildren. And I got great-grandchildren. And they want to hook them on their foods and they hook them on sugar. Okay? So what I want to do this morning is talk to you about what happens when a kid consumes sugar and and what happens to them, and why I'm so concerned about it, and what you can do about it, as much as it depends on you, okay? There's a verse in the Bible, I love it. It says, live at peace with everyone as much as it depends on you. You know, sometimes you just can't make peace with someone, okay? And I like that because it's practical. If it depends on you, then make peace with someone, okay? And it's the same thing with nutrition, guys. As much as it depends on you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is why I always tell you, first of all, take care of yourself. Now, if you're a parent, as much as it depends on you, you get to dictate food as much as possible, right? You're not always going to be able to dictate, but, you know, they're under your roof. Well, then dictate. And sugar added to foods is horrendous. And let me say this, I double down on it every time I get a chance. They changed the sugar. So now it's the antichrist of sugars. It's high fructose corn syrup. Why is high fructose corn syrup that they add to cereal, that they add to everything, ketchup, you name it? It's in our children's, grandchildren, great-grandchildren's breakfast. It's in those cereals. It's in, you know, those waffles or whatever they're having. And then they pour syrup on it. Even makes it worse. The antichrist of sugars. Since 1980, really, high fructose corn syrup took off. They changed the sugar and it's been worse because fructose has an enormous effect on the liver because fructose goes directly to the liver. It's like alcohol, guys. Would you ever give a child alcohol? Of course you wouldn't. Okay? My wife always said she comes from an Italian home. They were giving her wine when she was a kid. Okay? She hated it. Okay, but here's what I'm saying. High fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup. Off to the liver in nanoseconds, like alcohol. But it is not only toxic to the liver, it's toxic to their brain. Okay? In 3 ways. So you got your notepad out? Okay. Because these are studies that have been done on the brains of our children with high fructose corn syrup. 1, behavior. Now, we all know about, I was thinking about Bugs Bunny the other day. I used to love that cartoon. Not only when I was a kid, but, you know, even when I got older, I just found them so creative. And guys, do you remember this character? The Tasmanian Devil. Do you remember that? Do you got to be my age? The Tasmanian Devil. Remember? Just, he would circle at 1,000 miles an hour. And that's children on sugar. Their behavior. Ask a teacher. You know, it's always someone's birthday, right? And they bring cupcakes to school. Do they do that still today? I don't know. Well, they didn't do it when we were kids. We never celebrated birthdays at our school that I remember, okay? But, you know, my kids, you know, if it was their birthday, they usually, they would bring in a cake or whatever. I don't know. They'd have to have cake just about every day, right? It's somebody's birthday. No, but guys, teachers, you think they would bring the cup, okay, it's your turn to bring the cupcakes. Well, you wouldn't give the kid the cupcake at 9 o'clock in the morning nor noon. It would be in the afternoon when school was done pretty well. Why? Because the teachers knew the second you give them sugar, man, their brains were, and look, I understand that some are worse than others. I call those kids the canaries in the coal mine. How often they would come into my office in my days of practice, and parents would bring their child in, and they had ADD or ADHD, and but kids are smart, kids are smart. And I used to appeal, before I appealed to the parents, I would appeal to the child. I don't care if the kid was 5 years old. I said, listen, okay? Listen. You and sugar don't get along. Now, I know you love it, but you don't get along. That's what gets you in trouble. True or false? I'd make him say it. Yeah, that's true. When I have sugar, I don't do so well. Kids are smart. I said, well, look, okay, I don't want you to leave the planet. I'm going to give you a plan to succeed, even as a kid. Just understand that basic principle that you and sugar don't get along. And I hadn't talked to them about high fructose corn syrup or whatever. I'd sometimes do that with the parent. I said, look, this is going to take a concerted effort. Breakfast for your child becomes a dangerous meal. There's no neutral foods for your child. It's either good for them or it's bad for them. There's no neutral. Okay, I got it. Got the memo? I said, you got the memo. And I said, you are really going to have to focus. And your child they'll grow into it and understand. And this can be the best thing in a way that ever happened to them. Because they'll figure out they're the canary in the coal mine. Fragile. Their brain is wired just the way it is. Why do we see so much of it? And, medicine, okay, God bless them, but I could choke them sometimes. Because then they would put kids on Ritalin. And I used to say, well, is ADD an absence of Ritalin? Is it a defect that they need Ritalin? It's food. It's sugar. And it's high fructose corn syrup. It affects them. So you get behavior issues. You get focus issues. And the Tasmanian devil in a lot of kids comes out. And parents know it. Parents, you don't have to go to parenting school to understand that you're usually not giving sugar to kids at night before they go to bed, right? Usually you go, they don't do so well. Yeah, and you're going to have a long night. You don't feed sugar to kids. Now, grandparents do. I'll feed my grandchildren sugar and send them home. Okay? Impacts. 1, behavior. 2, okay? 2, cognition. cognition. You know what they've shown? Kids that are weaned on high fructose corn syrup, when they do scans of their brain, you know what they see? Their hippocampus. You know the hippocampus, okay? You got two centers. You got more than that, but two main centers in your brain. Remember, repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I want to teach, and I'm simple, and I got to repeat things. And you guys know this, okay? Memory, hippocampus, okay? Campus, yeah, you know that. 2, hypothalamus. What's that? Hormones. Hormones. You got the hippocampus and you got the hypothalamus. Campus, memory. Campus, you know. So let me talk about this cognition. When they scan kids that are weaned on high fructose corn syrup, sugar, because that's what sugar is today. Okay? It's so far from natural. What do they see? They see a smaller hippocampus. That area in the brain is shrunk. Now, guys, let me ask you a question. You guys know this again, but again, it's just reinforcement. Where do you want to be fat? And where don't you want to be fat? Question. Where do you want to be fat? Someone tell me. Barbara's saying, Happy Tuesday from Atlanta. Okay. Where do you want to be fat? I'll just wait till I scroll. Kathy, you got it. The brain. John says, I like chocolate. Lori, the head. Yeah, you want to be fat. The fat head. Cecilia. Oh, my audience, my audience. Suzanne, smart, smart, smart. Barbara, Barbara, Barbara. Barbara. Marina. Yeah. Debbie. Oh, you guys. Sharon. We should have a contest one day. Nina, we'll take out any other health group online. Elaine, you guys all got it. Okay? Sandra. The brain. Someone calls you fathead, take it as a compliment. True or false? Nativity. Yes, you got it. Where don't you want fat? Where kids are getting it. Okay? They got less fat in their brain and more fat in their... Okay. Now I want you guys to answer that. Where don't you want fat? Okay, I'm waiting. In the belly, yes. I want to be more specific. The liver. That's right. Barbara and Tina and everybody. You guys are so stinking smart. Francis and Cecilia. See, the liver. You want fat in your brain and no fat in your liver. What happens to kids? What happens to them at their breakfast? When they're eating the wrong foods? When they're eating cereal? When they're having toast and jam? When they're having muffins? When they're having bagels? When they're having waffles? When they're having whatever else? Sugary yogurt. Okay? Or a sugary smoothie. You know what happens? The fat goes to the wrong place. The fat goes to the liver, not the brain. The brain shrinks and the liver swells. That's what happens. That's why even in my practice days, I was seeing children with fatty liver. If they got fatty liver, they got a shrunken brain. The most dangerous meal for them is starting their day. They start their day with the wrong food. Okay? So you've got, and here's another study. Let me just bring this to you. Shrinking of the brain. Okay, so we all know about the hippocampus, the memory center of the brain. Secondly, okay, the reduced prefrontal cortex. Okay? And that's where, the prefrontal cortex of your brain is sort of the executive, I like this, executive center. Okay? It's like the business center in an hotel. Okay? It's got the computers, it's got the Wi-Fi, and, you can do it in your room, but you know how at one time the business center, was where you could do the executive things if you were traveling or whatever, okay? Do they still have those places in the hotels? I think they do, but who cares? But it used to be important. Guys, the prefrontal cortex of your brain, it's sort of the organizer. It's the executive decisions. Well, that shrinks in a kid. And the hippocampus shrinks. Kids are not fatheads. They should be, but they're not. That's what sugar does, especially high fructose corn syrup. It's worse than any other sugar. And you know me, I made this statement in the past, okay, about the brain and sugar. Your brain is swimming in energy it can't use. Your brain is swimming in energy it can't use. Like you're in the ocean. You're surrounded by water. You're in a boat and you got nothing to drink, yet you're surrounded by water. Yeah, but it's salt water. You can't drink it. And that's the same as fructose in your brain, guys. You're surrounded by energy, but your brain can't use it. So your brain shrinks. And kids' brains shrink. Now, I didn't do those studies, but I've been reading about it since the cows came home a long time ago. Man, I feel sorry for kids. They're lied to. We're lied to too, but you know what? Kids are lied to. You need fiber. And if you don't get fiber, and that's why you need your cereal, because you need fiber, and it's got a heart on the box because it's good for your heart. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay? So, 1, behavior. We all know that. We don't have to do any more studies on behavior. The best people to ask is parents. They know. Teachers. They know. Okay? And the answer is not Ritalin. That makes me angry. Leave it to Big Pharma to come in and dope up our kids. And the long-term effect of that, my word. The answer's in front of us, but they don't like the answer. It's food. It's food. Ritalin's a Band-Aid. Doesn't fix the problem. They sedate the kids. To me, that's malpractice. Anywho, Anywho, thirdly, okay, so 1, behavior. 2, cognition. It affects that kid's brain and the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. Studies have shown it. And it's worse than ever because now kids are up to about 200 pounds each a year of sugar. Grandpa, didn't you have ice cream and cookies when you were a kid in the days of Noah? Yeah, I did. But we had the average North American. Okay, I just know the history of food. It was part of my PhD in nutrition, learning the history of nutrition. In the 1950s, Canadians and Americans were consuming around 25 pounds on average. It's up to almost a dump truck load now. It's in everything. The food industry won. They won. They hired the tobacco guys for addiction. The third thing, okay? The third thing that happens to children. Why is breakfast the most dangerous meal for a child? Behavior, cognition, and the gut-brain barrier. Okay? The gut-brain barrier. Now, what do we know about the gut? Your gut's got more serotonin than your brain has. And when you undernourish the gut, because see, sugar, it undernourishes the gut. It feeds the liver, but undernourishes the gut. See, your gut is made up mostly of microbiome, okay? Microbiome. There's a war going on. I always love to explain it like that. There's a war going on constantly between your good and bad bacteria. Okay? What army wins? The good guys or the bad guys? Well, it depends. Who are you feeding? What army are you feeding? You see, when kids start their date with sugar, they're feeding the bad guys. They feed bad bacteria, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, even though it makes a beeline towards the liver. And I brought this out to you in the past. On its way to the liver, it disrupts the microbiome. It disrupts it. It feeds the bad guys. Yeast and fungus, the Trojan horse, gets fed by sugar. And when, you see, and I've talked about this in the past, okay? When we look at, why do we see today, here we are, okay, in 2024. And we got a major problem on our hands with anxiety/depression, okay? Yeah, it's part of the world in which we live, right? A lot of it, I think, kids spend way too much time on their smart devices and video games. And look, I don't minimize that at all. You know, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, we got kicked out of the house. like my mother. Can you imagine? 11 kids? Like, it was almost like my mother locked the door in the morning when we weren't going to school. And you guys I don't want to see your faces till supper. And, you know, we played I love sports, so we played every sport. We played cops and robbers. We played cowboys and Indians. We played hide and go seek. We played, you name it. Well, we had to. Why? Because I wasn't getting back in the house. Okay? I don't care if it was 40 below. Dress up and shut up. No, but what I'm saying, guys, I know the world's changed, okay? I get it. But what I'm saying, guys, is that gut. We know, what I knew in the 1970s and what we know today, the communication between the bacteria in your gut and the bacteria in your brain is unbelievable. This has turned medicine upside down. Okay? The study of the microbiome. And it's fascinating. Doctors didn't get the memo yet. They don't talk about it enough. But when it comes to depression, when you don't have enough good guys, when you feed the bad guys, this has been shown over and over and over again. There's a major connection to depression and anxiety. I've shown you studies. I've talked about them in my protocols and in my, podcasts in the past about the connection between antibiotics and depression. Antibiotics and autism. Antibiotics and ADD and ADHD. What's the connection? Something that can save your life has a double-edged sword. I've taught you that. Antibiotics are the greatest discovery of the 20th century, the curse of the 21st. Kids are canaries in the coal mine. But I'm not talking about antibiotics this morning. I'm talking about sugar and how it disrupts. Kids were never meant to consume around 200 pounds, a dump truck load of sugar. Their bodies are never made for that. Their brain's sensitive. We showed you that. But that gut-brain connection. What army are we feeding those kids in the morning? We're feeding the bad guys. Because can't have bacon and eggs. There's cholesterol in bacon and eggs. Yeah, well, you need cholesterol. Your kids need cholesterol. Makes me hangry. No, but guys, you love kids? I love kids. I feel sorry for them. They're being duped. And then they go to school, and then they're taught, they're indoctrinated. The anti-meat people are in there. And, the animal kingdom. The animals are only made, this is school today, okay, generally. Animals are your pets. They're not made to eat. That is crazy, my friend. But it's true. That's what's happening. Animals are pets. They're higher on the food chain than you. Man's bad. Animal's good. Look, you love your cat or dog? Good for you. I love cows. I told you that yesterday. Why? Because they're vegetarians, so I don't have to be. Every time I see a cow, I want to give it a high five. Thank you. Dairy and meat. eggs, meat, and cheese. Okay, we like chickens too. Oh, okay. Where am I at here? Yeah, okay. 3 impacts of sugar on the brain. Okay? Cognitive, right? Behavior, and the gut-brain connection. Big time affected. Hormones. All of the above. Okay, guys. We love you more than dearly. Can I remind you guys, okay, I know I tell you this a lot, but man, you're smart. You guys are stinking smart. All I got to do is give you a quiz, and you guys get it. I love it. Okay, no, but seriously, I know you listen, okay? I'm not just tooting my horn for nothing. Okay, we love you guys dearly. Thanks for, if you're not a member of the private Facebook group, the 21,000 something and change members of the private Facebook group, why not join in? We had a testimony this morning, okay? I was reading it that someone just finished the reset, and you know what she said, okay, in part of her testimony? This group was so helpful. Such encouragement. There's no Debbie Downers in here. Okay. They just said, you can do it. You can. Okay. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.